Have you ever wondered why some people seem to appear in your life at the perfect moment, as if the universe itself conspired to bring you together? What if those connections weren't just random chance, but a reflection of something deeper within you? Carl Jung believed that when the energy of two souls aligns, their paths inevitably cross not because of luck, but because of a hidden force in our psyche. This isn't about superficial attraction, it's about the unconscious pulling us toward relationships that shape who we are and who we're meant to become. In this video, we'll dive into Jung's profound insights on synchronicity, the invisible threads that tie us to others, and why some bonds feel destined, while others leave us stuck in painful cycles. You'll discover why you're drawn to certain people, whether they're lovers, teachers, or mirrors of your overdose, and how these encounters reveal what your soul is truly seeking. Stick around to learn how to break free from destructive patterns, understand the lessons behind every connection, and unlock the secret to attracting love that reflects your highest self. Watch until the end, because this could change how you see every relationship in your life. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Have you ever sat alone, heart heavy, asking yourself why you're always drawn to the same kind of people, the ones who end up hurting you the most? Why does your heart keep finding comfort in familiar patterns, even when those patterns leave you feeling empty, bruised, and confused? It's one of life's most painful mysteries, falling into relationships that seem like déjà vu, as if you're watching the same story unfold again and again, only with different faces. And yet, Carl Jung would whisper something both haunting and liberating. This is not a coincidence. It's your soul's way of trying to heal. That truth pierced through me like lightning the first time I heard it, because deep down, I knew it was right. The human psyche is profoundly complex. Our unconscious mind, silent, yet endlessly powerful, has its agenda. It doesn't forget what we try to bury. The fears we deny, the wounds we suppress, the heartbreaks we pretend didn't change us, they all remain. And without realizing it, we begin to seek out people who unknowingly reflect those unresolved pains. It's not some cruel cosmic joke. It's your soul's desperate, sacred attempt to bring those shadows to light. If you carry abandonment wounds, you will attract people who leave. If you fear not being enough, you may find yourself with someone who never sees your worth, not because you deserve that pain, but because your inner world is calling for awareness, healing, and transformation. In my own life, I've seen this pattern so clearly, only in hindsight, of course. The people who shattered me also held up a mirror I didn't know I needed. And that's what this journey of love and pain is really about. It's as if the universe keeps placing these emotional mirrors in front of you, urging you to stop running, to finally turn around and look at what's hiding beneath the surface. But here's the catch. If you're not conscious of this process, you'll keep repeating it, thinking you're unlucky in love, in truth. Your soul is crying out to be seen, heard, and healed. And that's why the deepest, most meaningful relationships are rarely just about comfort and joy. No, they often come wrapped in thorns, carrying the power to shake us, to challenge us, to expose everything we've worked so hard to conceal. Jung wasn't just talking about romance when he spoke of love as a path to self-discovery. He was pointing to the kind of love that stretches us beyond what we thought we could bear, and then leaves us forever changed. The people who impact us the most aren't always the ones who stay. They're often the ones who tear us open, so we can finally rebuild ourselves more whole. Yes, this process can break you open. It can feel cruel. It can leave you sobbing on your bedroom floor, wondering what's wrong with you. But please believe me when I say this, there is immense beauty and power in that breaking. Because sometimes the wound is where the light enters. As Rumi once said, the people who come into our lives don't all arrive to stay. Some are there for a brief season, to deliver a lesson wrapped in ache. They come bearing truth, not permanence. And that's okay. That's sacred, even. The real question we need to ask ourselves isn't, why did they leave? But rather, what did they teach me? What piece of myself did they help me uncover? What part of me needed to be loved, challenged, or awakened through their presence? When we begin to see relationships through this lens, pain becomes purpose. Grief transforms into gratitude, and the sting of goodbye softens into a quiet thank you. Letting go becomes easier when we realize that every soul we meet has a divine assignment. Some are sent to love us, others to break us, and some to remind us of who we truly are when the world tries to make us forget. And, oh, how deeply those people leave their imprint on our spirit. They echo through our memories long after they're gone. They shape our thoughts, our choices, our hearts. And in doing so, they help us evolve. There's something mystical about the connection between two souls when their energies align. It's powerful, it's magnetic, it feels inevitable. And when it flows, it's like music that doesn't need words. But the moment that harmony falters, when one soul starts growing in a different direction, the energy shifts. And no matter how much you love someone, no amount of effort can force alignment where there is none. I've tried, and it's one of the most heartbreaking realizations. Love isn't always enough to hold two people together if their frequencies have changed. The hardest lesson I had to learn, one I'm still learning, honestly, is that clinging to someone who no longer resonates with your soul only leads to suffering. But we do it anyway, out of fear, out of routine, out of the belief that we'll never find that kind of connection again. But here's the truth that changed everything for me. When you hold on to what no longer belongs, you block what is meant for you. You shut the door on the very blessings your soul is now ready to receive. And that resistance to let go, that's not love. It's ego. It's fear masquerading as loyalty. It's the part of us that would rather suffer in the known than risk the vulnerability of the unknown. Jung believed that healing and growth are not found in clinging, but in surrendering, in trusting that life has a rhythm. And when something is meant for you, it will remain, not because you forced it, but because it is aligned with your spirit. And when something begins to feel forced, painful, or heavy, it's the universe whispering, it's time to release. So if you're hurting right now, wondering why someone walked away, or why a relationship unraveled, despite your love and efforts, take a deep breath. Let yourself grieve, but also ask your heart, what lesson is life trying to teach me through this pain? What part of me is being called to rise, to heal, to evolve? You are not broken. You are becoming. And every person who enters your life, whether they stay or go, is part of that sacred becoming. The truth, the soul-shaking, beautifully raw truth, is that life is always gently, and sometimes forcefully, guiding us exactly where we need to be. Even in moments of chaos, heartbreak, or uncertainty, there's a divine thread being woven through every experience. And when we finally learn to trust that process, trust it, not just with our minds, but with our hearts, we begin to see the hidden beauty behind every ending. What we once thought was a door slamming shut in our faces is, in reality, life cracking open a window of possibility. Because every goodbye, no matter how painful, is also a quiet invitation to begin again. Letting go of relationships that have served their purpose isn't easy. It can feel like tearing away a part of yourself. But here's something I've learned through my tears and late-night prayers. When you allow what no longer aligns with your soul to leave your life, you create sacred space. And into that space flows something new, something more aligned with who you're becoming, not who you used to be. That's what growth is. That's what healing looks like. Messy, honest, freeing. Real love, the kind that nourishes and uplifts, has nothing to do with possession or control. It's not about clinging to someone in fear, hoping they'll complete you. It's not about silencing your truth to keep someone close. No, true love is a partnership between two whole beings who choose to walk alongside one another. It's about freedom. It's about evolution. It's about witnessing each other grow and not being threatened by that growth, but inspired by it. We are not meant to find someone to fill the emptiness inside us. That's a heavy burden for anyone to carry. Instead, we are meant to find ourselves first, to explore our depths, to face our darkness, to reclaim the parts of us we abandoned, and then, from that place of fullness, to share our lives with another soul. A relationship built on wholeness doesn't cling, it connects. It doesn't demand, it supports. And oh, when two souls meet at the right time, when both have done their inner work and both are standing in the truth of who they are, something extraordinary happens. Their connection defies logic. It transcends time. It's as if the universe has drawn a line between them, long before they ever met, and now that line has finally been illuminated. There's no need for explanations, no need for justification. They just are, and the pull between them is magnetic, undeniable, sacred. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. But to experience this kind of soul-deep connection, you must first turn inward. You must bravely explore the shadows you've been running from. You must allow yourself to feel the pain you've numbed, to sit with the wounds you've tried to ignore. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also where your power is born. When you know who you are, can you attract someone who resonates with your true essence, not just the mask you've worn for survival. Jung taught us that the greatest adventure isn't the search for someone else, it's the journey inward. And I couldn't agree more. We spend so much of our lives chasing validation, love, and belonging from the outside world, when all along, the real treasure was within us. When you finally uncover that treasure, when you fall in love with your soul, that's when the right people begin to appear. Not because you went out searching for them, but because your energy shifted. You became a magnet for truth, authenticity, for connection that feels like home. So the next time your heart skips a beat in someone's presence, don't rush to label it or to make it fit into a story. Instead, pause, breathe, reflect. Ask yourself with radical honesty, what is this person showing me about myself? What mirror are they holding up to my soul? Is this connection expanding me, challenging me to grow, to rise, to heal, or is it pulling me back into an old pattern I thought I had outgrown? Because the real answers, the ones that matter, are never found outside of you. They are always within. And once you understand this, everything changes. You stop seeing relationships as a way to escape yourself, and you start seeing them as sacred doorways back to yourself. You stop searching for love out of desperation, and you start walking the path of love as self-knowledge, as healing, as transformation. That's where true power lies. Not in how many people love you, but in how deeply you understand yourself. And every person who walks into your life is reflecting something about your internal world. That's why when the energy of two souls aligns, when both have done the work, when both are vibrating in truth, their paths naturally converge. It feels effortless, divinely orchestrated. But when the energy shifts, when one soul grows while the other stays the same, no amount of clinging or convincing can force alignment. And that's not failure. That's life. That's evolution. Destiny isn't some random lottery. It's not a roll of the dice. It's the result of the energy you emit, the awareness you carry, and the choices you make in alignment with your soul. And the most powerful way to call in the right kind of love, the love that honors and reflects your true self, is to become the highest version of you, not perfect, just authentic, just willing, just open. When you begin tending to your inner world, when you start healing, forgiving, letting go of bitterness, choosing peace, something beautiful starts to unfold. The people who once resonated with your pain begin to fade, and in their place, new souls arrive. Souls who recognize your light. Souls who aren't threatened by your growth. Souls who are ready to love not just the parts of you that are easy to love, but all of you, your past, your potential, your truth. This is the magic of conscious love. It doesn't come from chasing. It comes from becoming. This is not just a coincidence. It's a mirror, a direct reflection of your inner transformation, or perhaps the lack of it. Carl Jung, with his profound understanding of the human soul, reminded us that the psyche is not merely a vessel for memories and fleeting thoughts. It is a living, breathing field of energy and intricate vibrational force that quietly interacts with every piece of our reality. Every unspoken emotion, every buried wound, every unloved part of yourself, it all radiates out into the world and silently shapes what you attract. It's not superstition, it's spiritual science. And it's life-changing when you finally understand it. This is why some people seem to stumble into love with ease, as if the stars aligned just for them, while others remain trapped in heartbreaking loops, repeating the same painful relationships under different names and faces. But let me tell you something that set me free. This has nothing to do with luck. It has everything to do with awareness, consciousness, the level of healing and truth you've allowed yourself to reach. And I know that can sting to hear, especially when your heart has been through so much, but it's also the key to reclaiming your power. If your soul still carries unresolved wounds, if you are silently haunted by the fear of abandonment, rejection, or unworthiness, then without realizing it, you will attract people who reflect those same energies to you. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because it is trying so gently and so persistently to wake you up, to invite you into your healing. And here's where Jung's work hits deepest. This process is called projection. What you see in others, the love, the anger, the indifference, the admiration, it's all a reflection of something inside you. Some people will make your heart bloom with hope. Others will stir up old pain you thought you'd buried long ago. They don't do this because they're inherently good or bad. They do this because your unconscious recognizes them. It sees them as keys to a locked part of you that's still waiting to be freed. That's why certain people inspire us while others leave us feeling triggered, small, or rejected. It's not random. They are activating pieces of your psyche that have not yet been brought into the light. They're touching your soul in places where healing has not yet reached. Jung believed that the unconscious isn't just a dark pit, it is a map, a compass. It leads us through the language of relationships toward wholeness. Every person who deeply moves you, whether through love or pain, carries a sacred message. They are mirrors sent to help you understand yourself. Once you grasp this truth, not just intellectually, but emotionally, it changes everything. Your relationships will never look the same again. You stop blaming fate. You stop playing the role of the victim. Instead, you begin to see every person who enters your life as part of your soul's evolution. Some are there to love you tenderly. Some are there to challenge your ego. And some, perhaps, the most important ones, come simply to teach you how to let go. Every connection has a purpose. And every one of them, without exception, is a reflection of your current energetic state. When you finally take responsibility for the energy you carry, something inside you shifts. You stop chasing love from a place of lack. You stop searching for someone to fix you or make you feel whole. Instead, you begin the sacred work of becoming whole within yourself. And let me tell you, this is no easy road. It requires soul-level courage. Jung never sugarcoated the journey inward. He warned us that true self-knowledge demands that we face what we've been running from for years, maybe even decades. It demands that we look straight into the mirror of our shadows, the fears we deny, the guilt we hide, the pain we pretend doesn't still ache. It means admitting that maybe some of those failed relationships didn't collapse because the other person was broken, but because deep down, we weren't truly ready for the love we thought we wanted. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But it's also one of the most liberating realizations you'll ever have. We love to romanticize the idea that love just happens, that it falls into our laps without effort, without reflection. But real love doesn't come to you when you're hiding from yourself. It comes when you're standing in your truth. If your inner world is chaotic, love will mirror that chaos. If you're driven by fear, you will find yourself entangled in relationships built on control, insecurity, and emotional confusion. But when you cultivate peace within, when your soul finds stillness and clarity, something incredible happens. You begin to attract relationships that feel safe, calm, and true. Love becomes a place to rest, not a battlefield. It becomes a gentle unfolding, not a roller coaster of highs and lows. And that is not luck, that is alignment. So before you ask, why haven't I found the love I'm looking for? I invite you to ask a more important, more honest question. Who am I at this moment? What beliefs am I holding on to? What wounds am I still carrying? What energy am I radiating into the world? Because the answer isn't found in dating apps or in chasing someone who doesn't see your worth. The answer is always within you. And the moment you commit to becoming the best, most authentic version of yourself, the universe responds. Old patterns fall away. People who no longer align with your truth begin to drift. And those who are meant to walk beside you, those who recognize the light in your soul, begin to appear. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And when they do, the connection won't feel forced. You won't have to chase. You won't have to beg for love or shrink yourself to be accepted. Instead, you'll stand tall in your truth, and they will meet you there with open hands, open hearts, and open souls. Because that's what love is supposed to be. Not a wound to reopen, but a healing to embrace. Not a test of your worth, but a reflection of how far you've come on your journey back to yourself. Because here's the raw and undeniable truth. The kind of love you receive from others will always mirror the love you hold for yourself. Read that again. It's not just poetic, it's spiritual law. If you walk through life believing deep down that you are unworthy, unlovable, or not enough, you will, without fail, attract people who affirm that belief. If you undervalue yourself, you'll end up with partners who treat you as disposable, who neglect your needs, who fail to honor your heart. And not because they're evil, but because your energy silently told them you'd accept that treatment. If you don't set boundaries, if you don't respect your emotional space, you will find yourself surrounded by people who trample over those lines, who make you feel like your needs are too much or your emotions are too inconvenient. But here's the beautiful, empowering flip side. When you begin to truly love yourself, when you gain clarity about who you are and what you deserve, something incredible happens. Toxic relationships begin to vanish. They literally cannot survive in your energy field anymore. You stop attracting drama and start magnetizing peace. Jung taught us something profound, that the purpose of life is not to find someone else to make us whole, but to find ourselves, to dive deep into the core of who we are, to face our shadows with courage and compassion, and to reclaim the parts of ourselves that we gave away in exchange for approval or temporary comfort. And once we do that, once we finally come home to ourselves, the right people start showing up. Not because we were begging for love, but because our frequency matched love. That is not magic, it's alignment. And when you reach that understanding, something inside of you shifts. The fear of being alone dissolves. You stop seeing singleness as some sort of punishment or failure and start embracing it as a sacred space, a beautiful, fertile season for healing and self-discovery. You no longer tolerate relationships that leave you feeling small, invisible, or broken. You begin to realize that real love does not require you to suffer or shrink. Real love expands you. It elevates you. It brings you home to yourself. And perhaps, most importantly, you stop waiting for someone to come and complete you. Because you know now you are already complete. You are already whole. And that realization, that quiet, soul-deep knowing, is where the real magic begins. When you stop chasing love from a place of emptiness, when you stop searching because you think love will save you, and instead begin radiating from a place of inner fullness, the right person appears. Not to fix you, not to rescue you, but to walk beside you as a reflection of your evolution. That's why so often people find love the moment they stop looking. It's not an accident. It's the universe responding to your wholeness. It's the law of attraction working at its most powerful and personal level. Jung once said that the most meaningful relationships are those where two individuals help one another grow. And I believe that with all my heart. It's not about attachment or dependency. It's not about filling voids or bandaging insecurities. It's about joining forces with someone who also knows who they are, someone who has walked their oath, wrestled their shadows, and emerged stronger. When two souls who have done the work meet, there is no fear, no need for manipulation, no exhausting mind games, just truth, just openness, just a sacred, soul-level bond built on mutual respect, trust, and deep authenticity. But to get to that place, you have to earn it. Not by proving your worth to someone else, but by doing the honest, difficult work within yourself. You must face the ache you've avoided. You must unpack the pain you buried long ago. You must love the version of yourself who made it through the worst without applause. You must stand in front of the mirror, not with shame, but with compassion, and say, I am enough, just as I am. That's the threshold. That's the portal. And only when you cross it will you be ready to receive the kind of love that your soul has always longed for. So the next time you feel drawn to someone deeply, inexplicably take a moment to pause and ask, is this person reflecting my healing or my wounds? Are they here to grow with me or to repeat a lesson I've already learned the hard way? These questions matter. They're sacred checkpoints. And the answers they reveal will show you whether you've met a soulmate or just another mirror of your past pain. Because at the end of the day, destiny isn't some untouchable force outside of you. It's not luck. It's not a coincidence. It's the natural result of who you are being right now, in this very moment. It's the echo of your vibration. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are aligned with. And when you transform from the inside out, when your thoughts shift, your self-worth rises, and your energy becomes a lighthouse, instead of a flickering flame, everything around you begins to change. The chaos quiets. The right people come. The ones who truly see you. The ones who feel at peace. The ones who meet your soul, not your wounds. When two souls vibrating on the same frequency meet, there is no resistance, no confusion, just recognition, a feeling of home in someone's eyes. And it's not just physical, it's not just emotional, it's something deeper, something ancient. As if, somehow, this person is helping you remember something sacred you forgot, something you've always carried deep within your heart. That is the love you were made for. And that is the love that will find you when you finally find yourself. Jung would call it an encounter with the anima or animus, the sacred, hidden aspects of the unconscious that embody the feminine within every man and the masculine within every woman. These internal archetypes are more than abstract ideas. They are profound forces silently shaping our desires, our attractions, and the way we engage with love. When we meet someone who stirs something deep inside us, something we can't quite explain, it's often not just chemistry or fate. It's a spiritual mirror, a moment where our soul recognizes a part of itself in another. Throughout our lives, we cross paths with countless people. Some come and go like the wind, pleasant, fleeting, and barely remembered. But then there are the rare few, the ones who crash into our lives like a storm, the ones who leave fingerprints on our hearts, not because of how long they stay, but because of how deeply they touch us. These people don't appear by coincidence. They are messengers of our evolving psyche, reflections of where we are in our inner world. If you're growing, you'll attract someone who accelerates that growth, sometimes gently, sometimes with force. If you're stuck in fear or unresolved pain, you'll draw in someone who mirrors those wounds, not to punish you, but to reveal them. That's why the most soul-shaking connections often come wrapped in discomfort. They don't always feel peaceful at first. They might feel terrifying. Why? Because they wake you up. They pull your hidden insecurities to the surface. They challenge your defenses. They push every buried emotion into the light. And in doing so, they force you to confront yourself in ways you never have before. These relationships aren't always built for longevity, but they are always built for transformation. They arrive with a divine purpose, to make you aware of the parts of yourself you've ignored, denied, or disowned. But here's where so many of us go wrong, and I say this with deep empathy, because I've been there too. We confuse intensity for destiny. We mistake chaos for passion. We believe that because a relationship stirs something powerful in us, it must be true love. And then we stay, even when it hurts, even when it drains us, even when it becomes toxic. We romanticize the suffering, calling it depth. We tell ourselves that if it's this hard, it must be real. But that's a dangerous illusion. Jung warned us long ago, if we are not aware of our shadow, the repressed, unconscious parts of our psyche, we will inevitably project it onto others. In plain terms, if we haven't healed our wounds, we will attract people who reflect those wounds right back at us. And rather than doing the deep internal work, we often point the finger outward. We blame the other person. We try to fix them, when the truth is, they are only a mirror of the energy we've yet to deal with inside ourselves. Have you ever found yourself in a painful relationship, walked away, and then, like clockwork, ended up in another that felt eerily similar? The same emotional roller coaster, the same arguments, the same patterns, just with a different face. That's no accident. That's your unhealed self running the show. The lesson wasn't learned, so the universe presented it again. And it will continue to present it until you finally look within and ask, what is the pattern here? What in me is attracting this? That was one of the hardest realizations I ever had to face, that the problem wasn't always the other person. That sometimes the common denominator was me, my energy, my beliefs, my unresolved pain. But as painful as that truth was, it was also incredibly freeing, because if I was the one creating the pattern, then I could also be the one to break it. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. True love, the kind Jung described as a sacred connection between two conscious souls, does not require suffering. It does not drain you. It does not keep you in a constant state of confusion, fear, or emotional dependence. Real love brings peace. It nourishes your spirit. It invites you to grow, not by tearing you apart, but by standing beside you as you rise. It challenges you, yes, but never through cruelty or games. There is no manipulation, no power struggle, no need to fight for affection or beg to be seen. In a conscious relationship, both people show up in their truth. Both have done the work. Both have looked their shadows in the eye and chosen healing over hiding. And when they meet, it's different. There's no need to pretend. There's no fear of losing yourself. There's no desperate need to control or fix, because the connection isn't based on wounds, it's based on wholeness. But to reach that kind of love, you must first do the inner work. You have to face the parts of you that still ache, the parts that sabotage, the parts that cling to pain because it's familiar, You have to stop waiting for someone else to rescue you and start becoming your sanctuary. That's the only way you'll ever be able to receive love that honors your soul. So, the next time you feel a powerful, magnetic pull towards someone, pause. Don't get swept away by the spark. Instead, ask yourself, what is this person awakening in me? Are they reflecting my healing or my wounds? Is this connection pushing me toward growth or dragging me back into old patterns? The answers to those questions will reveal everything. Because in the end, destiny is not just something that happens to us. It's something we create with every thought, every wound we heal, every boundary we set, every time we choose self-awareness over blame. When you transform your inner world, your outer world follows. The people you attract change. The kind of love you receive changes. And one day, you'll meet someone who doesn't ignite your trauma, but your peace. Who doesn't stir your anxiety, but your joy. Someone who feels like home, not because they complete you, but because they see you as already whole. That's not fantasy. That's alignment. That's what happens when two healed souls meet, not by accident, but by design. However, the kind of soul deep, transformative love that so many people long for doesn't just fall into our laps. It requires something far more sacred, far more courageous, the inner work. And let's be honest, that's the part most people resist. Because it's so much easier to point the finger outward, to blame our exes, to curse bad timing, to declare that love is unfair or that the universe has it out for us. But here's the unfiltered truth. The love you experience in the outer world is only a mirror, a living, breathing reflection of the love or lack of love you've cultivated within yourself. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Those words hit me like a thunderclap, the first time I truly understood them. Because what he was saying is this: you're not unlucky. You're unaware. You're not doomed to repeat heartbreak. You're just repeating your patterns again and again because you haven't yet looked at what's driving them. You will continue to encounter the same types of people. You will keep walking into relationships that echo your deepest fears and insecurities. And you will wonder why the pain feels so familiar. Until one day, you make the decision to stop blaming the world and start taking radical responsibility for your own energy. That's the moment everything shifts. When you commit to doing the inner work, when you look yourself in the eye, shadows and all change becomes not only possible, but inevitable. You stop feeling magnetized by the very things that once hurt you. You lose interest in seeking validation from people who are emotionally unavailable or incapable of loving you back. You stop glorifying suffering, stop confusing chaos with passion, and finally see love for what it's meant to be. A sanctuary, a space of growth, honesty, and deep respect. That's where the real transformation begins. Because as you heal, you rise. As you grow, your standards change, not out of ego, but from a place of self-worth. You no longer feel compelled to settle for half-hearted love, breadcrumb affection, or emotionally draining games. You know what you're worth now. You've felt the difference between love that wounds and love that builds, and you won't go back. And most importantly, you stop searching for someone else to make you happy. Because that happiness, that grounding, that deep inner peace, you've already found it within yourself. You've become your own safe space, your source of light. You don't need another person to complete you, but you're open to someone who can complement the fullness you've created. That's a powerful shift. It's in this space, this wholeness, that the right person shows up. Not because you were desperately looking, not because you manifested them through force, but because you are now vibrating at the level of love you truly deserve. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's alignment. And it's one of the most breathtaking things you'll ever experience. But, and this is where it gets nuanced, there's something important you must understand, not all souls are ready to meet, even if the connection is real. Sometimes you'll feel an intense, almost otherworldly pull toward someone, and it still won't work out. Not because the love wasn't real, not because the bond was imagined, but because the timing wasn't right. The spiritual and emotional growth needed for the connection to thrive simply hasn't happened yet. And that's heartbreaking. Let's not sugarcoat it. It hurts when something feels so right, but life says, not now. But as Jung so wisely put it, the universe moves with its rhythm one. We don't always understand. Forcing something before its season leads only to pain. If two souls are meant to walk together, they will find their way back to each other. But not through clinging, not through desperation, only through readiness. In the meantime, the most sacred way you can honor that connection is not by waiting in agony or trying to control the outcome, but by growing deeply, relentlessly, truthfully, because if a reunion is part of your path, it must be a reunion of wholeness, not of need. That's where so many people get stuck. They freeze their lives, waiting for someone to return, holding on to memories, checking their phone, living in the past. But the real journey is forward, not backward. It's not about waiting for someone else to evolve. It's about becoming so aligned with your soul that you naturally pull everything and everyone meant for you into your orbit. And if the connection was real, if it truly had divine roots, then your growth would create a ripple. It will echo, because real love doesn't shrink in the distance. It expands. One person's transformation can awaken another's. One soul rising can be the spark that sets the other soul on fire. And if it's meant to be, the reunion will be undeniable. Not rushed, not begged for, but organic, peaceful, and right. But even if that reunion never comes, you will be okay, be more than okay. You'll be whole. And from that wholeness, other beautiful things will bloom, other connections, other soul deep loves that meet you where you are now. Because that's the beauty of doing the inner work. It never leaves you empty. It always leads you home. So the next time your heart aches for someone who isn't there, the next time you feel that magnetic pull to a soul who cannot yet meet you, take a breath and return to yourself. That's where the healing begins. That's where love lives. Not out there in someone else, but deep within you. Love is not a matter of luck. It never has been. It's not about stars aligning randomly or fate tossing you a soulmate when you least expect it. No, love real, lasting, soul deep love is about energy. It's not about chasing the right person, trying to force a connection, or molding yourself into someone you're not just to be chosen. It's about becoming the person whose very presence naturally draws in the kind of connection that's authentic, healthy, and life-affirming. If you feel like love keeps slipping through your fingers, if you've been asking, when will someone finally see me? When will the right person come? Maybe it's time to shift the question. Instead of asking when and who must I become to attract someone who aligns with the truth of who I am? Who do I need to be spiritually, emotionally, energetically to be ready for the love I say I want? Because when you do this inner work, when you stop chasing and start aligning with your truth, something powerful begins to happen. The universe listens. The energy around you begins to shift. And this is where Jung's teachings on synchronicity become deeply relevant. He reminded us that there are no coincidences. What we experience as chance is resonance, an energetic alignment that brings people and opportunities into your life at just the right time. When your energy shifts, when you start healing the wounds you've ignored, when you finally choose yourself, the universe responds. Doors open. Toxic relationships fall away. The kinds of people you once felt magnetized to the ones who hurt you, made you question your worth, fed your fears, suddenly hold no appeal. Not because you're bitter, but because you've evolved beyond that vibration. And in that space, the right people begin to appear, not because you went looking for them, but because your soul became a beacon for them. This is the secret Jung wanted us to uncover. Love is not found. It is created, and not in another person, but within yourself. That sacred, radiant love you long for. It begins with how you speak to yourself, how you show up for yourself. How do you treat your heart when no one else is watching? It's the love you pour into your growth, your healing, your expansion. And the wild, beautiful thing is when you cultivate that kind of love internally, the outer world begins to reflect it like a mirror. As if by magic, you'll notice people responding to you differently. You'll experience peace where there used to be chaos. You'll stop begging for the bare minimum because you'll have learned to give yourself the very love you once waited for. You'll feel whole, complete. Not because someone made you that way, but because you made you that way. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. So stop the desperate search. Stop giving your time, your energy, your body, your soul to those who can't love you in the way you deserve. Stop clinging to people and relationships that have already served their purpose. It's time to turn inward, to finally do the sacred work of returning to yourself. Work on your mind. Quiet the noise of doubt. Rewrite the stories you've been told about love, worth, and belonging. Work on your heart. Forgive what hurt you, not to excuse the pain, but to release yourself from carrying it. Work on your soul. Reconnect with your spirit, your purpose, your truth. Because when you do, something incredible begins to unfold. You begin to attract differently. When you become the highest, truest version of yourself, not perfect, but authentic, you won't have to chase love. It will recognize you. It will be drawn to you. The right person, the one whose soul speaks the same language as yours, will arrive in divine timing, not because you begged for them, not because you tried to earn love, but because your energy made space for them. And when two souls who have done the work finally meet, there's no drama, no manipulation, no fear-driven mind games, no walking on eggshells or pretending to be someone you're not. There is only clarity, ease, flow, because both people understand the deepest truth about love. It is not something you go out and search for, it is something you become. When you embody love, when you radiate peace, self-respect, and emotional honesty, your relationships shift from being a survival mechanism to a soul connection. You stop seeing love as a crutch or a rescue mission and start seeing it as an extension of your evolution. It's no longer about finding someone to fix you, to save you, to fill the empty spaces. You no longer feel desperate to be chosen because you already chose yourself. And that changes everything. Love becomes something you offer, not something you chase. Something you build, not something you wait for. But none of this happens by accident. It comes only when you choose to look within. When you examine the beliefs that have shaped your love life for years, beliefs about what you deserve, about what love is supposed to feel like, about whether or not you're worthy of it. It comes when you identify your old patterns and decide that they stop with you. When you stop romanticizing suffering and start romanticizing healing, because here's the most powerful truth of all. You are the common denominator in every relationship you've ever had. That doesn't mean you're to blame. It means you are the key. You are the creator of your energetic field. And when you finally align that field with self-love, authenticity, and emotional clarity, love responds. So don't wait for someone to save you. Save yourself. Love yourself so fiercely that the right person can't help but be drawn to that light. Do the work. Heal the wounds. Open your heart not just to others, but to yourself. Because when you become the love you've been searching for, that love will find its way to you, effortlessly, naturally, divinely. Because the moment you finally deeply understand who you are and you begin to walk in alignment with that truth, something incredible begins to happen. The right connections start to appear, and they don't come through force. You don't have to chase, beg, or prove your worth. They arrive effortlessly, gracefully, because your energy now speaks a different language, a language of authenticity, a frequency of self-worth. You've become a magnet for what truly resonates with your soul. This is where life surprises you. Suddenly, you find yourself in situations you once thought were out of reach. You begin to cross paths with people who don't drain you, but inspire you. People who challenge you to grow, not because they criticize you, but because they see your potential and reflect it to you. These people are not a gift from some changed universe. They are a response to the change within you. You no longer move through the world vibrating in fear, lack, or desperation. You carry yourself with quiet confidence, with a heart that knows its value. You walk through life no longer trying to fit into other people's worlds, but instead building your own and inviting others in only if they honor it. This shift, this alignment with your truth, is where the most meaningful encounters begin. And when those soul-level connections arrive, they feel different. There is no anxiety, no confusion, no guessing. Two souls meet, not from a place of emptiness or need, but from a place of freedom. Not because they are incomplete without each other, but because together they expand their joy, their purpose, their very being. It's not dependency, but synergy. Not clinging, but flow. But here's something sacred to remember, something many people struggle to accept. Not every connection is meant to stay forever, and that's okay. It's necessary. Some souls come into your life for a season, a chapter, not the whole book. They arrive to spark a shift, to open a door, to teach you something vital for your journey. And when that purpose has been fulfilled, they may quietly fade away. This isn't a failure. It's a blessing in disguise. Because once you understand that everything has a purpose, the fear of loss softens. You stop holding on so tightly. You stop suffering over endings that were never meant to be permanent. Instead, you begin to trust the flow of life, knowing that what is meant for you will stay, and what is not will gently fall away. You release the need to cling to people who hurt you. You no longer mistake pain for love, or sacrifice for commitment. You realize that real love, healthy, sacred, conscious love, is not built on suffering. It's built on mutual growth, respect, and emotional peace. And, more importantly, you no longer see solitude as punishment. You stop fearing being alone. Because now, solitude feels like an invitation, a sacred space, where you continue to meet the most important person in your life, yourself. So if right now you feel like you haven't yet found the person who truly sees you, pause, take a breath, and stop looking outward. Start turning inward. Ask yourself with full honesty, am I truly ready for the love I say I desire? Am I aligned with that energy? Or am I still unconsciously operating from old wounds and outdated patterns? These are the questions that matter, because the truth is, the love you seek is not hiding from you, it's waiting for you to align with it. And that alignment begins with self-awareness, with healing, with unlearning what no longer serves you, and embracing the beautiful, unfiltered truth of who you are. You do not need another person to complete you. You were never broken. You simply need to remember who you are beneath the layers of pain, fear, and doubt. And when you finally find yourself, when you fall in love with your soul, when you stand firmly in your worth and walk in your truth, love finds you. Not as something you beg for, but as a natural, beautiful consequence of your transformation. And it won't feel like searching anymore. It will feel like coming home. So now, I want to turn this over to you. After everything we've explored together, from Jung's wisdom to the power of self-love and inner transformation, what have you learned? What truth resonated with your soul the most? Take a moment and reflect. What's one thing from this video that you're going to take with you, not just as inspiration, but as a practice? Maybe it's learning to stop chasing and start aligning. Maybe it's releasing the fear of being alone. Or maybe it's finally doing the inner work to break old patterns and call in the kind of love you truly deserve. Let us know in the comments below what's one thing you've learned today and will start applying in your life. Your words could inspire someone else who's on the same journey. And if this video touched your heart, helped you see something more clearly, or gave you the encouragement you needed today, please leave your comment below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us reach more souls who need to hear this message. Until next time, take care of your heart, honor your growth, and remember, real love begins with you.